Hello and welcome. My name is Pam Mackinnon and I am the founder of Talking Dog Scentwork. This is the first of a series of videos that will take your dog from pet dog to detector dog. As he plays and squeezes the toy in his mouth, puffs of scent are released into the air. This helps to make a strong association between scent and fun. Just as I recognise the smell of freshly baked cakes and look forward to eating them, the dog recognises the Scentwork smell and looks forward to his game. We both get the reward we desire. You will also need to prepare the area. If using an empty room such as a village hall, you can place chairs or boxes along the wall. If you use chairs, face the legs into the wall, not sticking out, to prevent your dog from accidentally running into them. But you can use boxes, baskets, whatever you have around. These items will reduce the visual aspect of the game so that you can increase the olfactory or sniffing part. So make sure they are big enough to do the job. If you're working at home, you can use footstools, washing baskets, magazine racks to do exactly the same job. Training is easier if you have a willing assistant, but if you don't, not to worry, you can do this alone. Begin by playing with your dog and the scented toy. Now you must play whatever game your dog prefers: fetch, tug, chase. Some dogs prefer just to hold the toy while you give them lots of fuss and body contact. It doesn't matter what game you play together as long as the dog loves it. Don't be half-hearted, really get into the game, enjoy it just as much as the dog. Just as you want your dog to play the Scentwork game in a wholehearted and enthusiastic way, he needs you to play the reward game with the same energy. After a short while, at the peak of the game, stop playing and put the toy away into a clean bag or container. You want to stop the game when the dog is still loving it, not when he gets tired or bored. This way, the next time you offer him the chance to play, he will remember the game as being exciting and fun. In essence, this is a three-step process. Each step builds upon the previous step. Before beginning, think of the word or words that you'd like to use to let your dog know it's time to play. I'm a simple soul, so I use find it. It's clear, concise, and lets my dog know it's time to go sniffing. Begin by standing in a doorway, for example standing in the hall at the doorway to the living room. Holding your dog by the collar or harness, tease him a little with the scented toy, then toss it into the room right in front of him. Immediately say, find it! Let him go and run into the room after it as he pounces on the toy. Play an exciting game with him, have real fun, then stop and take him out of the room back into the hall. I'd like to highlight a few key points here. Holding the dog by the collar or harness rather than asking for a controlled stay helps increase the dog's energy. No self-control is required, which means that all he is thinking about is getting to that toy. The toy should be thrown directly in front of the dog. He sees you throwing it and sees where it lands. No guesswork is required. It's simple and straightforward. You are building a reward history and, most importantly, trust. From the outset, your dog needs to be sure that if you say find it, his toy will be in that area whether or not he can see it. And finally, you need to follow your dog into the room to play with him. If he rushes in and you stay outside, he'll suddenly find himself alone. Your game with him is an integral part of the process, so follow him in and have fun. Just as you did before, begin by standing in a doorway, hold your dog by the collar or harness, tease him a little with a scented toy, then toss it into the room. But this time, toss it to the left or right of the doorway, and ideally so that it lands behind something, so it's partially obscured from sight, such as behind a chair, or as you can see here, behind a box. Immediately say, find it, let him go, run into the room to look for the toy. If he runs straight ahead, or is confused as to where to search, calmly and quietly walk over to the spot where the toy landed. Do not point at the toy, just simply move towards it, bending your body in the direction that your dog should search. Your movement alone should encourage your dog to move in that same direction. If not, then you can use a directional hand gesture. This gesture should simply be a suggestion of where to look, rather than telling the dog, here it is, I found it. So open your hand wide and gesture towards the correct area. You can even tap a box around it somewhere close by, just to encourage your dog to look in that area. As he spots the toy, either with his nose or his eyes, it doesn't matter which at this point, you can praise him and encourage him to play. As before, play an exciting game with him, have real fun, then stop, take him out of the room, back into the hall. Later on, once he has learned the game, you can add behaviours like a controlled set before being asked to find it to the search. But during these early stages, the keener he is to get to the toy, the better. Do not keep repeating the search cue, find it. You should say it as you release the dog, if he looks at you for some assistance, or as you give the hand gesture. If you keep repeating it as the dog is working, it can be really distracting and can put extra pressure on the dog as he's trying to learn this new game. This time, you are going to shut your dog outside the room while you quickly place the scented toy a little further on from where you tossed it at stage 2. Or you ask your assistant to put the toy out while you remove your dog so he doesn't see what's happening. The toy doesn't need to be in the same place as before, as then the dog wouldn't need to search for it, but it does need to be in a similar place. Open the door, say, find it, as you let your dog into the room. As before, if he runs straight ahead or is confused as to where to search, calmly and quietly walk over to the spot where the toy landed. As he spots the toy either with his nose or eyes, doesn't matter which, you can praise him, encourage him to play. As before, have an exciting game, have real fun, and that's it. Session complete. This third part highlights the most important element in scent work, which is trust. Your dog is taking a leap of faith during the third part. In the 2 previous parts, he saw the toy being thrown into the room. In the third, he didn't. So he took a chance that you would not trick him. Working on his previous experience, when you said, find it, he entered the room and found the toy, even though he hadn't seen you place it there. And this trust will carry on through every search you do together. He will learn that if you say, find it, you are guaranteeing him that there will always be a toy there for him to find.